Hi, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Peter Llewellyn. I run the services at medcomsnetworking.com and the associated website. So information services, resources for people who work in and around the global medcoms community, by which I mean people who work in and around medical communications, medical education, medical publishing, and so on. These webinars are a great way of involving lots of people, frankly, from all around the world, and bringing speakers in from different places. And we're running these weekly webinars at the moment, which we record and post on NetworkPharma TV, where you can catch up. There's now 350 odd videos there, I think, of one sort or another. So there's quite a good resource there. So lovely to see you all today. One of the things I am quite keen on with these webinars is talking about the sort of training programs that are offered. And today we're going to sort of, I guess, we're sort of addressing a couple of different audiences, but I'm very keen on the fact that we do a lot to help people understand more about medcoms and the opportunities and how to get into medcoms. And if you look at firstmedcomsjob.com, you'll find lots of information. We're going to talk about the Allegro program and how it addresses the sort of the newbie end of the spectrum. But Allegro has also been expanded to cover more senior writers, and so it's been great over the last couple of years because I've sort of seen Allegro develop. It's great to have you back today. Thank you very much, team, for coming along and telling us about the new developments and the progress that you've made over this year. On that note, I'm going to hand over to Rebecca to take the lead. Okay, Rebecca, here's yours.
Thank you very much, Peter. Good afternoon, everybody. As Peter said, my name's Rebecca Douglas and I'm Programme Director for Allegro. Joined today by Neil, Katie and Andrea. Do you want to just take a couple of seconds to introduce yourself? Just start with Neil.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Neil Marmont and I'm the Vice President of the Allegro programme here at Ashfield Health.
Andrea?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Andrea Cole. I'm a Business Unit Head at Ashfield MedComms.
And Katie.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Katie Buxton. I'm a senior medical writer at Ashfield. So I joined as part of the Allegro programme, the Allegro Write programme a few years ago, and I'm now enrolled on the allegroEXCEL programme.
Thanks, everyone. So we are here this afternoon to talk to you about all things Allegro, how we started, how we've developed and where we're going. So the programme was launched back in January 2018, and our mission statement is to make it matter by developing talented people who deliver excellence for our clients in the healthcare industry. So that mission statement underpins absolutely everything that we do at Allegro. And essentially what we believe in is growing our own talent. So we began with an entry-level programme, which was then and is still designed to provide industry-leading training and development for associate medical writers. And we started off in the UK. Due to the success of the programme, we have now expanded it to offer the same structured, personalised, accelerated development for AMWs in the US. And indeed, we're now also recruiting in Germany. In addition, we've developed a new and exciting programme for senior medical writers to make a structured and accelerated transition to scientific director. The company and the team and everyone at Ashfield Health invest an awful lot of time in this programme, and that time and excellence in training has been recognised very recently by the Princess Royal Training Awards, which we were thrilled about actually because we're the first medcoms company to achieve that, and a couple of years ago by the UK Employee Experience Awards. So that's a little bit of our background. The two programs are named like this. So Allegro Write is our 12-month accelerated learning program for entry-level writers. And the aim of this program is to equip our writers with the core competencies that they need to be medical writers within an accelerated time period. So we build confidence and ability through individual coaching and feedback on that program. I will talk to you a little bit more about the mechanics of that program in a couple of minutes. The second program under the Allegro umbrella is allegroEXCEL, and Neil's going to discuss this one in a little bit more detail. But essentially, this is our new and exciting program for senior medical writers who want to accelerate their career to scientific director. And there are three pathways, so people get to choose where they want to take their career and how they want to structure it. So our three pathways are content, strategy, or team. There are, as you would expect, some shared core skills that apply to all 3 pathways, but there are also focused speciality skills that we do training and development on. So allegroEXCEL is different from what we did before. It's a brand new program that continues our offering within Allegro. This is our lovely core Allegro team. So everybody that you see before you here is really committed to training and development. And I think the size of the team here shows you the investment that the company makes in Allegro. And indeed, that is borne out also with support from senior people across the business who have been intrinsic in the development and rollout of allegroEXCEL. So these are our partners within the business. Andrea's with us today. But they've been fundamental to setting up allegroEXCEL and now rolling it out. In addition to all of the people that you've seen, we have lots of other people across the business that come in and do training with us, do mentoring. So it's kind of a company-wide investment in Allegro. So if we move on to talk a little bit more about Allegro Write and focus on the mechanics for that, some of you may have heard of Allegro Write before, I hope you have. We spend a lot of time at the beginning of Allegro in our recruitment. So we talk to a lot of different UK universities. And we've built relationships with them. I got into the industry myself because somebody came into university and talked to me. So it's an area where we're keen to develop and form networks. Our recruitment process is very carefully planned, and our aim is to attract well-rounded first-class communicators who are suitable for our fast-track program. We want to make sure that people are suitable for us, but also that we're suitable for them, so it's the right match both ways round. Once people secure a position within Allegro Write, there are 2 months of core skills training. So that training takes place away from clients in a safe space. It's all about building those core competencies that are required for the role of associate medical writer. We then, I think quite uniquely still within the industry, move on to 2 rotations. So we have rotation A and rotation B, and that's where our AMWs are placed into teams, and they work alongside those teams on real life medical communications projects. And the reason that we do 2 rotations is to give our AMWs a really broad understanding of the industry, different clients, different types of projects, and to give them the confidence to realize that they are able to transfer between accounts and therapy areas, and they are competent in the discipline of medical writing, and that discipline applies across the board. At 12 months, the vast majority of our AMWs successfully graduate the program and become medical writers. Some people take a little bit longer. They still stay with the company for the most part, and but might take a bit longer. But most people, the vast majority, graduate as medical writers within that accelerated 12-month time frame. And then it's all about continued career development. So people graduate from Allegro Write, but we are still extremely invested in all of our medical writers. We know them very well, and we really want to help them succeed within the industry and within the business. So we continue with continued career development sessions. We keep in touch with people, and we know how they're getting on in their career. And these are some of our lovely, lovely intakes. So we've had over 170 people join Ashfield Health through Allegro Write. Obviously, they are not all on the screen, but here are some of their lovely faces. We recruit people with a whole range of backgrounds. So traditionally in this industry, you needed a PhD. Because of the training that we provide, we feel able to take people with a whole range of backgrounds, as you can see here. So our minimum requirement for joining the program is a 2-1 in a life sciences degree, but we have people from a whole range of backgrounds. And actually, once you have that qualification, we are actually really interested in you as a person. So are you a good communicator? Are you a team player? Do you have the other competencies that we need to help us develop you into a successful medical writer? We are currently recruiting in Germany and the US, and our next recruitment window in the UK opens in just under a month's time, and that will be for a mid-January start date. So that will be for our 12th intake within the UK. And we're on our second intake in the US. People from Germany will join our UK programme. And if you are interested in applying, there will be some contact details on the very last slide for you to get in contact with us. So I'm going to pass over now to Andrea and Katie, who will talk a little bit about the value of Allegro Write, our entry-level programme for individuals, and Ashfield Health as a wider business.
Thanks, Rebecca. So Katie, just a question for you. Having been through Allegro Write, what do you feel you've gained from that particular programme?
So I think starting off with that core skills training period, that was a great opportunity for me, you know, getting loads of extensive feedback on sort of different types of written work. That was just a great opportunity to sort of build my confidence without those sort of pressures of client expectations. So that was a really great opportunity before I went into a client-facing team. And another thing I would say is building that support network. So joining the company along with 15 or so other people who were in the exact same position as me. I just found that so helpful. You know, during the training phase, we all supported each other. And then since graduating, you know, we've all gone off into different teams, but we still keep in contact. And it's just great to have that sort of support network throughout the business. And Andrea, as a business unit head, what do you think the benefits of the Allegro Write programme have been to the wider business and to people working within the teams?
Well, that's a great question. And obviously, you know, we are a people-based business, so we want to attract and retain the best people possible in the industry. And Allegro Write gives us that large-scale program that really identifies people who've got the right kind of attitude and background, and then gives them this incredible foundation to the skills that they'll need to be a good medical writer. Then throughout the rotations, they actually get to apply those skills in real-life client teams. And actually then when they graduate, everybody around the business knows that the people they'll be working with are ready to hit the ground running. They're going to be enthusiastic, they're going to be knowledgeable, and they're going to be able to apply all those skills right from day one.
Thanks both. We'll move on to you, Neil, now to talk a little bit about allegroEXCEL.
Great, thanks, Rebecca. So before coming on to AllegroEXCEL, so obviously Rebecca's talked about the Allegro Write program, which is very much for entry-level writers. We've always offered training and development to other roles within the business through our academy, and we continue to do that. The whole rationale behind the Excel program was to think, okay, is there a way that we can provide a structured training program to get people from our senior medical writer role to a scientific director level role. And really the rationale for AllegroEXCEL, there were four main reasons behind it. So we wanted to provide career development pathways for our senior scientific staff. So we've got a lot of people coming up through the Allegro program, and a lot of people looking for further development into more senior scientific roles. Part of this is obviously investing in people, allowing them to take more control of their own career, and a lot of AllegroEXCEL is the responsibility of the individual to kind of decide what they want to do and when they want to do it, so they're in control of their own career. From a business perspective, it helps us obviously grow that senior scientific resource within the business, particularly at SD level, which is obviously a critical role within the MedComms business. And as part of this, we wanted to redefine the career pathway to SD, looking at really what skills do our SDs need moving forwards for, you know, to deliver to our clients and to really become the kind of scientific leaders within Ashfield Health. So this is how the Excel program works. So basically Excel is all about creating, well, we've created some new roles in the business to allow for flexibility and to provide people with a broad range of opportunities. So So basically, if you're a senior writer who's established in your role, and that can be a senior writer who's been with the business a while, so it's an internal person or somebody we recruit into that senior medical writer role. If you're established in that role and you're performing well, then you're able to join the Allegro EXCEL program. And the EXCEL program provides training and development to allow people to move down 3 career pathways. So before this, our scientific director role kind of encompassed all this stuff. And we're asking people to do an awful lot of things, and you know, that role was really becoming too all-encompassing and quite a difficult role for people to do. So what we've come up with is 3 pathways for people to move down. There's the scientific content director route, the scientific strategy director route, and the scientific team director route. This also allows us to provide 3 more senior roles beyond this for people to develop into. So again, it's all about providing a broad range of opportunities and flexibility for people to develop into senior scientific leadership roles. We've also, within the EXCEL program, as people move through the EXCEL program, we've introduced the associate scientific director role as a stepping stone to those 3 SD roles. So there's a really nice career ladder within the EXCEL program. And Rebecca's already touched on this, but the 3 pathways that we offer, team, strategy, and content, really important pathways for us. But it's also really important that our scientific directors have a very rounded skill set. So all our scientific directors are offered core training, core development in all those kind of skills that are in the centre here. So they become really rounded in the role. But then this program gives people the flexibility to say, okay, well, I'm really interested in people and that kind of team aspect of the SD role. So I'd actually like to, you know, further training and development in things like team management, coaching, training, recruitment, resource management, the finances, and that kind of stuff. So it gives people the opportunity to kind of develop all those core skills, but also specialize in areas that they're really keen on or they're really interested in. And we talk in Allegro EXCEL about an individualized roadmap to SD. So what we mean by that is we employ a blended learning approach. So we offer training courses, e-learning, in-role assignments, and a practical project element, which is all supplemented with networking, mentoring, and coaching. And there are obviously core elements of the program for all SMWs focusing on those core skills, plus other elements that are pathway specific. In terms of how the EXCEL program works, so we look for evidence of development through client work. So we're not taking people out of the business like we do with the Write program for a period of time. This is in-role development. So we look for people to be demonstrating those skills with client work. And we run the program via kind of a credits-based system. So you gain credits through attending training, completing e-learning. There's in-role assignments, developing that practical project at the end of the program, and the credits build into that promotion to the ASD role and then onto the SD level role at the end of the program. And all our senior writers who are in the program, they can determine the pace at which they want to proceed. So it's not like the Write program where it's a 12-month fast track. With this program, you have the flexibility. So if you're really keen to get on and you want to move quickly, you can. If you actually want to take a bit more time and move a bit more slowly, then that's fine as well. It's entirely up to the individual in terms of the pace at which they want to access the training, access the e-learning. But throughout the whole program, everybody has the support from their line manager and also from a member of the Allegro EXCEL mentoring team. In terms of where we're up to with this program, so it's new, so we only launched it in June of this year, but we currently have almost 50 of our senior writers in the EXCEL program and are accessing the training and development we're offering. And some of those have already been promoted into that associate scientific director role. So we're up and running and few teething problems, but generally things are going pretty well.
Hey, so we'll go back to Andrea and Katie, talk about the value of allegroEXCEL to individuals and to the business.
Great, thank you. So Katie, what's the perception of allegroEXCEL in the teams that you work in?
So I think especially now that Allegro Write's been running for a few years, and that's got a really good reputation within the team. So we're always really excited to have associate writers coming through from the Allegro programme. I think since that's been such a success, everyone's really excited about the allegroEXCEL programme, and I enrolled in summer and everyone's just been really supportive. And I think people are just really pleased to see sort of the investment from the company in our development. So yeah, really positive. And Andrea, why was there a need to develop allegroEXCEL from a business unit head perspective? And how do you think the programme will address that need?
Well, yeah, it's really obvious that we want Ashfield Health to be, the best place for people to work as part of an organisation that's really focused on continual learning and development. And so allegroEXCEL provides a great offering for experienced senior medical writers who really want to develop their career, meaning that they're given the opportunities to acquire new skills, to try new things, but it's done in a very organised framework so that it's tailored for them, and really kind of it's great. It meets the individual's needs for continual learning and development. It also meets the business needs, obviously, for wanting to attract, retain, and develop the best people in the business.
Thank you both. So just before we pass back to Peter for Q&A, if you do want to get in contact with us, we are very, very active on our social media channels. We've got a lovely new page on our website, and the email address at the bottom is for our recruitment team. So please feel free to follow us, contact us on LinkedIn. We're always happy to connect with people. Over to you, Peter.
Excellent. Excellent, thanks. I held my breath there slightly, but that's absolutely excellent. Thank you very much. Great presentation. Thank you very much. Very comprehensive, and hopefully given lots of people some food for thought. It does occur to me listening to you that we have sort of got two presentations in there. Hopefully people don't think we should have just split it into two and we'll cover it all in one. But there is, the right side of it and the Excel side of it, and maybe we should treat it a little bit separately as we're asking for questions and so on. So if I could just say to everyone in the audience, we're gonna have a bit of a chat for a quarter of an hour or so. Ask some questions. We'd like your questions and comments and observations. So you'll find there's a chat button at the bottom of your screen, calls up a chat box that many of you are already using. So send in your text questions that way, or there's a Q&A button and you can that'll call up another text box. And the questions are already coming in, which is absolutely fantastic. We will basically weave the questions into the conversation. So can I just start with a couple of quick questions, a couple of quick points from my point of view, and I'm going to apologise in case I just missed everything. Okay. My first point was, and it's quite interesting when I sit and listening to you talking about the programme. I'm a great one for saying that MedComms actually over the last few years has done an awful lot as a community and as a business area to invest so much more in training and development and so on. And many agencies, let's be honest about this, are doing lots to invest in supporting their teams, but there are different approaches being taken. But listening to you talk is quite a big programme that you're running there. And I just thought, because I don't think you said anything right at the beginning, if somebody, maybe Rebecca, you could just quickly just describe Ashfield a little bit, because some people will be coming into this without really fully understanding how big or how small or how whatever. Can you just in a few words just paint us the picture of Ashfield, because you are at the bigger end, aren't you? Can you just paint a few
we are, yeah.
picture?
We are. Andrea will be much better placed to talk about Ashfield Health than me. I'll pass over to Andrea.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, we are one of the larger MedComms agencies. We've been established for many years. We currently have probably about over 1,100 members of our team. We are geographically spread out in the UK, in Germany, in the US, and yeah, we are a thriving and very active medical communications agency working with the top 10 pharma. So yeah, we're at the bigger end of the scale.
Exactly, perfect, and indeed part of a much bigger group beyond that. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I just want people to understand, if they're looking at this, they might have talked to a couple of smaller agencies and be going, gosh, that's quite a lot going on. So just a little bit of context there is useful. Okay, cool. Just at the Allegro end, you said that these people are now coming in the US and UK and in Germany. Yeah, I was just slightly intrigued with the Allegro program. You're talking about, you did mention that the German, what do you call them? Students? Do you call it associate medical writers? Let's stick with that.
Associate medical writers.
Associate medical writers coming in Germany will be part of the UK program, not the German. Practically speaking, because I know some of it is bringing them together in one place and some of it is remote and so on. But you'll bring the people over from Germany, will you? Or how's that going to work in practice?
Yeah, so we've moved to a hybrid model now. Originally, what used to happen in the early days of Allegro was everybody used to come to Macclesfield for 2 months of training, then they'd go off and they'd work in their individual business units and teams. Now, we then switched to a completely remote system during COVID times, and now we kind of have a hybrid. So everybody will come together from Germany and the UK offices in Manchester for week 1 of training. Right. So everyone can get to know each other. They'll then go off into their individual offices. Training will be remote, but they'll still be sitting together in teams. So they'll still know each other very well. Yeah. They'll be doing breakout activities together. And they'll be getting into that office kind of environment. And then we'll bring everyone back for week 8 of core skills training into Manchester. So again, we can just do some stuff on presentation skills and all those things that are really good to do face to face. So that's how it's structured. And it's evolving. We evolve with every intake.
Okay, and but that's interesting, and just what I'm interested in, I don't want to get bogged down in the whole work from home and the remote work and all types of things, but we've got a year and a half, you've got a year and a half plus of experience of actually just remotely supporting and onboarding people coming into the Allegro program. And my understanding and the impression I'm getting, perhaps maybe I'm reading between the lines, but it's been very successful. However, actually the ideal is still to have this so-called, as people use the word, hybrid model. You're going to, because actually you need, particularly at the beginning, you need people to get together a little bit, and that's what I think a lot of people are wrestling with, is how that works in practice. Am I saying something that makes some sense there, or do you?
Yeah, so we have delivered remote learning very successfully 3 times. We can do it. It's more enjoyable for people to be surrounded by other people. So for the first 12 months during Allegro Write, it is predominantly an office-based training program. There is some flexibility around that, you know, and certainly for the training period, we always have a remote option as well. So we train face-to-face and remote in parallel, so that people with 2 different trainers, importantly, we're not just, you know, people aren't just zooming into the room that we're in. So should COVID hit again this winter, we are very well equipped to switch at a moment's notice. Hopefully we don't have to, but regardless, for the first 12 months, it's predominantly office-based to give people that experience of being around people that are talking medical communications around them. After that, you know, Ashfield Health is a very dynamic workplace, and people work from all over the place.
Okay, so can I ask, and maybe Andrea, I'm going to bring you in on this one and ask you a blunt question. From a business sort of point of view, because Rebecca's there sort of said it's much more enjoyable to get together, and I get that. But from a business point of view, just out of interest, without getting us bogged down in this conversation, you know, from a business point of view, organization point of view, cultural point of view, you know, hard-nosed sort of, this is better for the business to have people together. Where do you sit on that one? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to be honest and frank with answering your question, we don't really know yet. Right. You know, obviously everybody has worked incredibly well over the last 18 months from home, everybody remote. And you know, I think for some people there is a real desire to get back to an office and have that team spirit, that camaraderie, that getting together. But we're not mandating anything. We're not saying anybody has to come back to an office. We do have offices open and available, and so we're kind of trying to think of kind of what's best for everybody as an individual, and obviously trying to think of what's best for the business, and making the offices a good place for people to come back to, and making them successful, and being able to have all of those good things about being in an office that people can join in if they want to and choose to, and what's right for them.
Okay. I think okay. So let's not go too much further, but I think there is an interest, and we are talking in, what are we talking in, September 2021? So we are all a little bit in a state of uncertainty, and I think there is an interesting issue in terms of what the business is going to end up deciding is good for the business, and what individuals will decide is good for individuals, and maybe there's some interesting sort of conversations and things in there. And flexibility is great, but go on, Neil, go on.
So just on that, and Katie, feel free to jump in. I think when we set the Allegro program up in 2017, 2018, we didn't quite realize how important the whole networking aspect would be to individuals. So we're obviously bringing individuals in intakes of anywhere between sort of 15 and 25. The value that those guys got from joining with a group of people and then networking with that group and with other people within the business was massive. And still to this day, we've got people that are really great friends with people they joined with, or maybe flat share with people they joined with. And we found the Allegro guys were a lot more connected from a business point of view than a lot of people that have been with the business for years. And obviously a big part of that was being in the office with each other, and with trainers coming in and that sort of stuff. So we really don't want to lose that aspect if we can. And it's worked. Yes, it has worked remotely, but there is no, for me, there's no substitute for having people in the office and networking with each other. What do you think, Katie? Is that something you would say?
Yeah, so I'm sort of mainly home-based now, but I'm really glad that for at least when I joined Allegro, having that opportunity and that time to all be together and get to know each other and get to know like the business and being in the office, I'm really glad we had that time. I think it was really valuable, rather than starting off working from home and not having that chance to sort of get to know everyone. That was a massive benefit for me.
Okay. We're getting quite a lot of questions coming in, which are some of them are very specific about qualifications. I don't want to get too bogged down in the qualification side of it and the entry criteria and so on, because I think, to be fair, Rebecca, I think you sort of you described it reasonably well. But what I would just make, I suppose, from my perspective, listening to it, what was quite interesting was your breakdown of the sort of the type of people that were coming in and the spread across, first degree, MSc, PhD. Well, you didn't split out the postdoc, but I think again, it's interesting in a program as large as yours that you've got that sort of a span of people, because there is, I would argue, and I did a survey a couple of years ago, which quite clearly showed that the postgraduate, indeed postdoc, was very, very useful in reality to getting in, even if people said it didn't matter, it does count, sort of thing. But it's interesting you've got that broad brush approach there. There are a couple of questions that we'll just cover off, a bit of specifics, but I don't think you said the Write program, is it 3 times a year that you take in a cohort?
We've moved to a 2 intake
it's changing
per
again.
year at the moment, but it does vary by business need each year, so it might not always be 2 intakes a year. Our next one is in January, and we'll almost certainly do one next September. If there's one in between, then that's an addition.
Sorry, and I'm not trying to pin you down. I thought it was perhaps a little bit less flexible than that, but several people have been asking about this, so I guess the point is go to the website and link up with you guys, and you can sign up for alerts, and you'd be
exactly. So if people email the recruitment website, the recruitment address that was on that slide, then we will add their name to a list, and we'll contact them as soon as recruitment is open, and we can tell them then exactly when the next one will be open. But our next program starts in the middle of January, so we'll open in a month.
Okay, no, that's fantastic. If someone's watching this video in 6 months' time, you'll have to revise that. You'll have to go to the website and just double check that information, right? But I get what you're saying. Okay, a question came in quite early on, which I just thought was worth just emphasising, which was somebody was asking. I've lost it now, but someone was definitely asking, how much does it cost? Is it open to? This is the point about what you're talking about here, is people coming into Ashfield at an associate medical writer, ASM level. Associate medical writer, AMW level, joining the company. This isn't a course that's being offered to people. This is, and everybody that comes in goes into the Allegro program, don't they?
At this level, yes.
At this level, at the entry level, yeah? And is it, I mean, we've said this in previous meetings, so again, let's just make sure this hasn't changed. If someone out there is looking to join Ashfield as a medical writer, so do they have to join an associate medical writer if they're not coming from with the experience? So I think in the past you said, yeah, essentially anybody, even if you've got quite a lot of post-doc experience or whatever, you will come in at an AMW level. I might just nod if I'm right or disagree, but I think this is an important point. You come in at an AM and you're coming into a full-time position, and it's an accelerated program, and you're being pushed through over a year into the wider program. And to cover this one off, the academy program that you mentioned, essentially the way it works is Allegro leads into academy, academy takes you forward. Yeah.
Academy is for all of the different
program.
roles in the business as well. So that covers every single person has learning and development opportunities throughout academy. So the Allegro Write program is specifically for associate medical writers. AllegroEXCEL is specifically for senior medical writers to SD. Obviously, there's lots of other roles in our organization, at lots of other different levels, and even in the scientific services team. So academy is what covers that off.
It's the overall training program. No, absolutely, that's absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I get all that. And then a couple of people have come in, but I think again you did make it fairly clear, but let's just cover it up because a couple of people have come in with this question. Do all SMWs go into the Excel program? Let's but they don't, do they? You're effectively saying selected SMWs partly. Go on, Neil. Sorry.
So it's not selective. So if you're an SMW, then you can join the Excel program as long as you've been enrolled for a period of time and you're performing well in the role. So everybody at SMW level can join the Excel program if they meet those criteria, and that's for people that are within the business at the moment. So people that have come up through Allegro into senior writer roles, we've got a good group of those that are now in the Excel program, but also people that we recruit in from elsewhere. So it's not just an internal thing, it's for people, people want to come and join us and have that structured development through to SD from SMW. That's what the program's for.
Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at some of the questions around this issue, but I think that was clear, to be honest. One question which Demetrius has just asked, and it has come up several times, so let's just cover it off. And it always comes up in his webinars. If you don't live in US, Germany, or UK, can you join the Allegro Write program? Yes or no?
No, but you also have to have the right to work in those companies.
Exactly. It's to do with the right
to work that's the important bit.
Okay. But with an international audience, there are people around who, how do I become part of this? But basically, there is a legal and it's legal and tax reasons and all the rest of it that does still apply. Okay, cool. But we're moving on to the sort of Excel program, which is important. We've talked about the fact that essentially anyone can go in that direction, which is great. I'm skipping over so many questions here. There's actually, so I should stop looking at the questions actually and just talk to you, I think. As you go into that Excel program, I suppose, I mean, again, you sort of said there's sort of like you can do it at your own speed or you can move it. So it all sounds very, very flexible. Is it a mix of, I don't know, online learning, remote learning, in-house training courses? So there's got to be some sort of timetable around it, or you can't literally just pick and choose and move. Just give me a bit more of an understanding of the practicalities of it, I suppose.
Yeah, so in terms of the start with the training courses. So the training courses, we run training courses based on the core skills and the three pathways. The core skills, I think there are 12 training courses that link to core skills, and then there's 5 or 6 for each pathway. What we're trying to do is offer, so those training courses should run at least once a quarter. So you've got access to all those training courses running at least once a quarter, so you can go in and say, okay, I've got time next month to do presentation skills, which is a couple of days, and actually I'm going to wait till after Christmas to do strategic planning because I've got loads of stuff coming up in between. So you can just kind of, we have our own, not launched yet, but it's coming soon. We have our own learning management system where you can go in, access the training calendar, and just click on those courses that you want to attend and the dates you want to attend. So, there's a rolling 12, 18-month calendar that sits there for people to access. So that's the training courses. The e-learning is available from day one. So we just provide an e-learning program that you can access and complete as and when you want. So that's there, and that's linked to the pathways and the core skills, and kind of supports the training courses that we offer. And then the in-role development, in-role assignments, that's for you to be working with your line manager, your mentor, and saying, okay, well, you know, as a new line manager, I'm currently dealing with X, Y, and Z. So, you know, how is this relevant to the scientific team director role? You know, how do I take this forward? So that's kind of an ongoing thing. And then the practical project element is done at the end of the program. So that's how it kind of works.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And to be honest, I think we just covered off a bunch of questions there, so thank you very much. But we did actually, there is a question that came in which made me smile slightly. So I'm guessing it's coming from someone that's experienced within the industry. Do you ring fence time? If you're an SMW, have you got ring fence time to spend on the training, or is this a sort of a, you know, get the work done and then, you know, do some of this in your spare time, and if you do it, then you can progress type of scenario? Just, I'm being slightly flippant, but you know what I'm saying.
Good question, because obviously the client work is important, and we don't want to drop the ball there, otherwise we're losing. So yeah, so people get time to attend training courses, they get time to work on other aspects, and like I say, a big part of this is in-role development. So a lot of what people are doing is looking at their current role and what they're doing for their clients and saying, okay, how is this relevant to my development? So that's, a lot of that is through client work. I'd kind of say, so when we say, you know, people can move at the speed they want through the program, people that want to move really quick and do a lot of stuff really quickly, they might have to put in some time, you know, to kind of do that we don't provide, because they still have to do the day job. So, you know, there's an element of that, but yeah, there's time available for people to develop within this framework.
Okay, cool. Okay, just out of interest, and maybe Andrea, bring you into this one, you know, just from an overall, again, business point of view, because, you know, the Allegro program made loads of sense. There's lots of, you know, you've got your academy program, and MedComms has been doing a reasonable job of treating people. Okay, so then there's been a lot of emphasis in the last few years on the early stage, you know, getting new people in, entry-level people in, and there's various programs. Yours is the Allegro program, lots of sense again. But you've but what am I trying to say here? You specifically then went, but the senior end of the marketplace, the senior end of our stuff, need that special extra attention. And I think that's probably something that a lot of people in MedComms would have said has actually been missing a bit. And I know, again, other agencies are doing things and so on, but just a few words to that, because I think that is actually, there's a point in there somewhere that you're addressing something that actually within MedComms generally had been identified. You can train people very well up to a certain point, and then people are left to themselves a little bit, whereas you're very specifically addressing that, aren't you? Just a few words on that, just to wrap things up.
Absolutely. And I think that's, you kind of hit the nail on the head, really, which is that perhaps it's somewhat easier to do the introduction, the entry-level programs. You know, that's quite straightforward, I suppose, in a way. It's a large scale. It's about identifying the right people, giving them a great and industry-leading program. But what that's done, you know, is has created, then we've got loads of people joined us at kind of entry level. We've now got large cohorts of people who are growing and developing, and we want to keep them. We want to keep them within Ashfield. You know, it's that simple. We've invested a lot of time and effort in growing them and developing them, and they're all great people, and they all want to carry on, you know, developing their career, learning, being challenged, being stimulated, and so it makes complete sense then to, you know, bring in another program. Now they are getting to that stage in their career where they need another injection of specific skills training. When we know SDs, we ask them to do a lot. They need to be client facing, they need to be leading a team, they need to be, you know, absolute experts in lots of fields. And so we felt it was really important to give them that injection of focus and learning and development, allow them to create those skills. And, you know, essentially, we hope that they choose to stay with us at Ashfield because we're giving them that development opportunity to grow and do more in their career.
Okay, come on then. And we're wrapping up now, guys. Katie, I'll give you the final word. That was a cue in to Katie to go, or for me to ask Katie. So how are you finding it? And is this keeping you as part of Ashfield, and is it giving you a future that you're excited about? Go on.
Yes, exactly what Andrew was saying. I'd progressed to senior medical writer level. And then obviously like looking to get to that next step in my career, and I'm just really pleased to see like sort of that structured pathway where I can sort of like allocate time amongst my workload to progress. And yeah, I'm really pleased to see this program starting. I've already done some of the training courses, and it's really sort of relevant to my position and my role. So yeah, it's really useful so far. I'm really excited.
Excellent, excellent. So in a year and a half time or so, I'll bring you back and we can have a word with you as next week. Is that right? How it works? Okay, right. Look, we should wrap up because as usual I'm slightly over time. But it's lovely talking to you, and it's great hearing about the progress of what you're doing at Ashfield. So thank you very, very much. By way of wrapping up, I'm just going to say I know you're all very happy for you to reach out via LinkedIn. So please, audience members or viewers of the video, do take that opportunity. The Allegro website, can you rattle it off, Rebecca, just to point people in the right direction?
allegro.ashfieldhealth.com.
That's it. Okay, cool. Excellent. Right. And the details were all in your slide earlier on, so people can double check that. Okay. So look, guys, thank you very much for joining us. I'd like for today to wrap up this particular part of the webinar and just encourage people to talk to you, but also to come along, because I have to have my little plug, come to NetworkPharma TV to catch up on videos, or come to medcomsnetworking.com to see whatever else we're doing. And if you're interested in joining the business, go to firstmedcomsjob.com. But they're all integrated with each other. So come to medcomsnetworking.com and explore. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you all to give us a little wave, and I'm going to close the recording. So everyone take care, stay safe in these rather strange times. Bye-bye.